Hey everybody, good Thursday evening. Hopefully we're having a good time out there. We are talking snowfall tonight. We've got a big winter storm on the way for the Carolinas. It has been the story of the week by a mile, and I'm super excited to have your trust this evening and giving you that forecast. And we're going to have all of your questions answered throughout the night. So let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you're up to this evening. Personally, I'm listening to The Cure right now. We've got Just Like Heaven on in my ears, and that's what it feels like right now. Feels just like heaven, I tell you. Tracking these winter storms with y'all. Yeah, it's going to be a good night. So let me know where you're watching from. Let me know, how cold it is out there. It's cold here in Charlotte for sure, where I'm recording from, or live from, I should say. Not just recording, but we are live in the flesh right now. And yeah, we're gonna break it all down for you. So we're gonna give a couple minutes for everyone to filter on in here. We're just gonna chat here for the first couple of minutes, read out some town names, and we'll go from there. We've got folks watching in Chapel Hill. We got Virginia. We got Sanford, North Carolina, Swansboro, North Carolina, the Midlands of South Carolina, Burlington, North Carolina, Fredericksburg, Virginia. We've got Yorktown, Virginia. Awesome. Richmond, Virginia, Concord, right up the road from me, not far at all. Virginia Beach, Windsor, Denver, North Carolina, Calabash, North Carolina. We got Savannah, Georgia. Looks like Kathleen also likes The Cure, so good. I'm glad I'm not the only one here that is willing to listen to The Cure on a Thursday night. Elkin, North Carolina. We got Charleston. We've got Greensboro. We got all sorts of North Carolina towns in here. We've got some South Carolina folks. We've got some Alabama in here. Nice. We've got, I would hope, a couple people from Georgia. We got some East Tennessee, I see. We've got folks from all over the world. And again, excited to talk about all these towns. I have a super chat already off the bat, so thank you. Anna says, what are your thoughts on Chattanooga? Great question. Chattanooga going to potentially be a place that is uptrended the past 24 hours. Chattanooga right in here for anybody wondering. And I do think you're going to have the chance for at least some light snow during overnight Friday and into the first half of Saturday. It might not amount to a lot in Chattanooga, but I'll tell you, you have trended better. We've seen a little bit of some west ticks with that upper level low. I'll talk about what that means here in just a moment, but Chattanooga, I think, does have the chance for a little bit of snow. In fact, I'll give you some spoiler alerts here and show you this. I see Chattanooga, and here's some of our model data. If I just go through a bunch of them, most of them do show at least something there in Chattanooga. Some are a little bit drier than others, but you get the idea. Chattanooga in a place that absolutely could see some snowfall. So thank you for that super chat, Anna. Appreciate it, and happy to answer your question there. All right, we got Andrew, South Carolina, Jersey Shore, New Bern. We've got a couple folks from New Jersey. We've got some Virginia in here. We've got New Hope, PA, currently 12 degrees, going down to 2. Oof, that is mighty cold, probably colder than I would even probably go for personally, although I have no choice because here in Charlotte, guess what? We're going to get plenty cold enough here over the coming days. The Twin Experience with the Super Chat says, is Greensboro in the risk of the dry slot? Well, I think, I'll be honest, everyone is in at least some risk of the dry slot, but I do think no matter what, Greensboro will see snow, likely especially here for the first half of your Saturday, where it should accumulate a bit. Great question, though. Kimmy says, any chance of dry slot misses Sanford, North Carolina? You know what? I'm happy I'm getting questions about the dry slot because that means my message that it will happen is getting out there. So that's better than, everyone, or not everyone, because not everyone's going to deal with it. But that's better than folks getting caught off guard. I'll go ahead and kind of blanket answer that. The dry slot is not guaranteed for anybody. I think 99% of the Carolinas especially will see snowfall. When I mention the dry slot, it's really going to likely be the difference from 2 inches and 8 inches of snow. So you'll still see snow, I think, but it'll greatly reduce totals. Sanford is one of those places. I've got plenty of meteorologist friends up in Raleigh. It's like this morning they started like, oh no, it's over, we're not getting anything. And now by this evening, they're like, all right, we're getting a foot. It's one of those things that I really hate to do this and give you this answer. And I know it sounds like a cop-out. I just don't know 100% where that dry slot will be. I'll tell you this right off the bat. I would love to be, if I want guaranteed decent snow, I'm going to want to be right into this circle right here. That's where I think we're guaranteed for good, decent snow at the very least. I think also back out here into the Outer Banks. It's that in-between zone that's going to be boom or bust, kind of out into here, where you very well could get, somebody can find a foot of snow somehow, but you could also only get 2 inches. So I know that's a terrible answer to give, but it's the truth. Kathleen, thank you for the super chat. Exodus says Rockwood, Tennessee. Well, let me see where that is, and I try to give you a little bit of a answer on Rockwood, Tennessee. I would hope it's in eastern Tennessee. Looks mighty pretty on Google, I'll tell you that much. All right, Rockwood, not far from Knoxville. Yeah, another area out into here that should get some snow maybe as early as tomorrow evening or afternoon, and should snow into the overnight and probably pick up at least a good inch or two. But the ceiling is higher for more than that there in Rockwood, I would say. Smyrna, Georgia, and love you too, whoever you are, Smoking Thrills. Appreciate you tuning in. Let's get a check on Smyrna. I always want to double check my my map here and make sure I'm looking at the right towns. All right, Smyrna is going to be just north of Atlanta. That's another area. It's going to be a very tight gradient. I'll show you that on some of our snow maps. Smyrna kind of right into this general area. Probably circle that in a better color for you to see it right into here. But it's going to be mighty close there. See how you're right on the line of everything? I do not want to be a meteorologist in Atlanta right now. I'll tell you that much. It's just like last week where it was either going to be big ice or nothing, and it was more of nothing than big ice in Atlanta. This time, it could be a couple inches of snow or maybe only some flurries. But I would say you could at least get a dusting. You have the ceiling for 3 or 4 inches. I would just personally wouldn't be confident enough to fully go all in on that forecast at the current point in time. And again, I know that's probably annoying to hear, but it's the truth. All right, folks, a couple of things I do want to say right here at the beginning. One, thank you for joining me. Again, I appreciate that very much. Also, if you have not already liked the stream, consider doing it. Maybe share it with a friend or family member. Tell them, hey, GM is live right now. He's breaking down and answering your questions and talking about this snow setup for everyone involved, from Tennessee, Kentucky, Virginia, all the Carolinas, Georgia. Yeah, a lot of folks are going to get snow, even parts of the Northeast. I still think Cape Cod and parts of New England going to see snow out of this. Also watching blizzard potential in parts of the Carolinas, so specifically North Carolina and up into parts of Massachusetts. We're breaking all that down. Also, I will ask, if you have not already subscribed, folks, I would love it if you did that. Check it out. Look at the subscriber count. We are like almost a little more than 1,500 here away from hitting 100,000 subscribers. So we'll be checking on this throughout the stream. We'll see what we can add during tonight. But again, tell everybody if they haven't already subscribed. We are working our way up. It's very exciting times here at GM Weather headquarters. Could not tell you more of how excited I am for that milestone and how thankful I am that all of you are willing to listen to me. Give you the forecast really does, once again, mean the world. So we'll check back in on that here in a moment. But we'll go ahead and get started here. The Twin Experience says you and Mitch should go live more often. I think so as well. Maybe I'll call up Mitch tomorrow and see maybe if he wants to join in tomorrow night. It's just me and I don't have Brady. I'll be honest. I think Brady's probably sleeping right now. I haven't heard from him today, but he's probably he's a busy guy. I know that. So it's just GM tonight. Maybe I can get Mitch in tomorrow. I'll call him up and see if he wants to join on in. It'll be an easy process. We did it once before and y'all loved it. So maybe we'll try to get that collab going once more. But I agree. Would love to go live with Mitch as much as possible. He is a great forecaster, and more importantly than anything else, he is a great person and a great human being, which I always say that about Mitch. Great forecaster, great YouTuber, more than anything else, a great person. So could not say more there about Mitch in a positive light. All right. Also had a super chat. We've got from Gainesville, Georgia. What are your thoughts on the amount of snow we could expect in Gainesville? So Gainesville in northeastern Georgia, this general area, I'm pretty sure. Let me again double check, but that one I feel relatively confident about. Let's see. Gainesville, Georgia. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy. Got enough upstate South Carolina geography. It bleeds into Georgia a little bit. So Gainesville, again, it's trended better for you over the past couple of days. I think you could pick up a couple of inches out of this. I'd say probably 1 to 3 right now in Gainesville would be my guess. Lexington, North Carolina, Deb's asking about. Well, let's give you the forecast for Lexington. That is not far from the Triad. If my, math serves me correctly, I'm pretty sure Lexington right up near the Triad. Yeah, sure enough it is. Lexington in a good place, I think, for some snow out of this. You'll probably see it much as Saturday, and it could pick up a good 2 to 4 inches, I would say, in Lexington, but you have a higher ceiling than that. You could definitely get more, 3 to 6, maybe even 4 to 8. I see a world where that's possible, but I would say 2 to 4 plus right now. 2, probably the lower end. 4 would be probably a more realistic number. What about snow for Radford, Virginia? That's in southwestern Virginia. Probably a couple of inches. Again, that would start tomorrow night and last into the first half of Saturday. Maybe 1 to 3, 2 to 4 there as well in Radford. Augusta, Georgia. I think Augusta actually in a place that you could get a pretty heavy band of snow during the day Saturday. I would not be surprised at all to see some pretty good totals in Augusta. I'd be willing to say 2 to 4 plus right now. There's a world 3 to 6 happens in Augusta with some heavier banding, which you'll see on some of our model data here coming up in just a moment. All right, so good questions coming in, y'all. I appreciate it. All right. I think I've got a little break here from the super chat, so I'll try to get into some of the actual data and some of the stuff here, and we'll try to get this moving along. All right, so in terms of watches, warnings, advisories, I'm going to refresh it because I'll be honest, we're just waiting any day now, or any hour now, I really should say, arguably any minute, for the National Weather Service to go ahead and pull the trigger on more widespread winter storm warnings. But for now, the winter storm warnings are confined to southwestern Virginia, Eastern Tennessee, and basically all of the mountains of North Carolina, where the storm's going to get started a little bit sooner. You'll get going there probably closer to tomorrow night than other folks. But winter storm watches for everyone else, and I do mean everyone else, in North Carolina, South Carolina, including Atlanta, down to Augusta, Charleston, Beaufort, Savannah. You're right on the line right now of winter storm watches. All of Southern Virginia under a winter storm watch, including Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, that area into Norfolk. So, we've got winter storm watches lined up and down the map. Heck, even extreme southern Maryland here under a winter storm watch. And we do have winter weather advisories into parts of eastern Kentucky and eastern Tennessee where you didn't quite make the cut for a winter storm warning. You do have those advisories in place. All right. So that's kind of a quick background. Let me go ahead now and start talking about some model data. The brand new high resolution rapid refresh model is running as we speak. So I'm going to have the latest data in for you on that here coming up throughout the stream. So stay tuned. Again, don't go anywhere. And like I said earlier, if you haven't already liked the stream, consider doing so. Subscribe. We're going to check back in on that subscriber count in a moment. So we'll get a little update, see how many of you we have gained on our quest to 100,000. But I do want to show you this with a high resolution rapid refresh. And again, it's not going to go all the way out yet because it is still loading in time, but this gets us perfect Saturday morning. That's as far as I wanted to get here at the start anyway. Notice the temperatures, okay? This is going to be a part of the forecast. This is a completely different beast than last week. If you're sitting here and you're thinking the boy who cried wolf, or you're tired of hearing about these winter storms and, last week was a bust at my house, nothing happened, this one's going to be the same. I will say it could, just because this one is complicated. I know that's a terrible time to say that whenever I'm trying to defend every meteorologist ever. But this is a completely different beast. We have much more cold air this go around. So no matter what's going to fall from the sky, it's either going to be snow or nothing. Now, into coastal sections, maybe you briefly start as rain, but it would be snow by the end of things. This is not going to be one of those problems where you have to worry like, oh, I'm on the rain snow line, or I'm getting freezing rain or sleet. This time around, nada. It's going to be snow or nothing. Check out the surface temperature Saturday morning. I mean, we're going to be in the teens to near 20 in Charlotte. In fact, I could zoom this in a little bit more, and you can see probably more areas a little bit more in depth here. Mid-20s in Columbia. We're going to already be in the 20s down into the PD, down into Myrtle Beach, Wilmington. The Outer Banks holding on a little bit above freezing at this point, but you too will drop below freezing. The Raleigh area, teens. The Triad, teens. The mountains, teens. 20s into the upstate of South Carolina. You're going to be down into the below freezing point into Atlanta as well by that point. So you get the idea here. We have got a lot of enough cold air. Sorry, I'm looking at something right now. Eric Webb, who some of you might know, just dropped his snow map, and it is very interesting. Maybe I'll pull that up at one point in the stream here. Obviously, full credit to him if I do, but very interesting stuff there for meteorologist Eric Webb. We'll maybe take a look at that here in a moment. A couple more super chats filtering in now that I've mentioned the cold air. Shane says, I live in West Columbia, South Carolina. They always hype us up and we never get anything. Are we actually getting inches this time? I really think so. I think Columbia's in a great place, and I don't say that lightly. A couple of days ago, I was a little more iffy on Columbia. Now, as we've trended closer, I think Columbia is in a great place for good snow here. Probably the biggest snow since 2010 for a lot of folks in there. 2014 at the latest. So it's on the way for Columbia. I've got 3 to 6 inches in my forecast, 3 to 6 plus. Some areas could get more than that. I think half a foot though is not a crazy thing to say for Columbia at all. Not at all. And that's going to shut the city down. I guarantee that. And there's going to be folks it's going to be a magical moment. Mitch West, again, my buddy lives down there. He runs a YouTube channel. I'm sure many of you watch as well. I am very excited to see him in this storm. He is very passionate about the snow, so that'll be fun to see. But I think Columbia, a great place. Why do the snow models hate Hampton Roads now? I wouldn't say they hate Hampton Roads. I wouldn't say that at all. We can go back to some of them here. And again, I know the screen is not perfect here, so I apologize. Hampton Roads down here, though, And, I mean, I wouldn't say they hate you. I'd say you're still in a good place for even blizzard conditions there in Hampton Roads. I wouldn't sweat it. Don't worry. We're going to get there. Hampton Roads, we'll see snow. I feel pretty confident about that, so don't worry too much. All right. Next one from Apollo Pete, who's been here like every night. Appreciate that, Apollo. NAM still shows a ban for me. What do you think in Camden, Georgia? Yeah, the NAM is continuous about that for sure. There will be what I call a deformation ban. And the past couple of nights, I've talked a lot about the overall setup for this storm. I'm going to sway a little bit from that tonight, partially. And we're going to get into more of the mesoscale setup than the overall like upper level setup. We're going to talk more about the mesoscale stuff tonight. I've beaten to death, upper level divergence and all of that. So we'll talk about some other stuff tonight. But yeah, for Camden, Georgia, I think you'll see you've got a good chance at some snow. If I show you the NAM here, and we'll get a new NAM model here in a moment as well. We'll keep on moving this down. And yeah, it gets really close. NAM tries to get snow all the way down to Jacksonville. It's not impossible by any means, but I wouldn't say it's necessarily an absolute guarantee. Sorry, my phone's been blown up this week, so if I ever just randomly stare down, I'm probably reading a text involving the weather. It's just the way this week is gone. North Myrtle Beach. Jerry, I think North Myrtle Beach, you're also sitting pretty good. I would say 3 to 5 inches in North Myrtle Beach. But that does leave the room for the dry slot. And I'll show it to you in a moment. Everyone has to worry about that, or maybe not worry, but keep an eye out. But I'd say 3 to 5 inches in Myrtle Beach right now is what my heart says. Thank you for the super chat, Ashley. We got a pretty big one here from Hayward. Says, Gerald, great job. I remember the February 1973 snowstorm, which dumped about 16 inches on Columbia. Is that a once-in-a-lifetime event, or could I see that again one day? Take care, from Hayward. I appreciate that. Everything is once in a lifetime until it happens again. That's what I always say. For example, if you look behind me, might be hard to see, but that picture right there, the one I'm pointing at, you see that? That is the Aurora Borealis over Table Rock, South Carolina. And I thought that was once in a lifetime until literally a year later, the picture above it I took in North Carolina. And it turns out, I guess we get the Aurora a lot more often here than I thought. So everything's once in a lifetime until it's not. I don't think you're going to get 16 inches out of this storm, but, there's, I'm sure, plenty of years left for you. So we'll see. Glen Allen, Virginia. The local guys are saying 1 to 4. Let me see where exactly Glen Allen is, and I can give you an answer there. Glen Allen. I always love whenever I look at these towns, Google throws a picture of them, and like of the town, and they're always super pretty. I'll live in the prettiest places ever. Glen Allen, not far from Richmond. Yeah, that is a tough forecast because you're right on the northern edge of this. In fact, if you look at the NAM doesn't really give you anything here. You can see that. Yeah, that's a little scary for you if you're a snow lover. But if I show you another model, maybe like the European model up into Richmond and that general area, you get a little bit of light snow. So I think 1 to 4. Again, your local Mets know your area better than anybody else. I would be a little scared for 1 to 4. I'd say maybe more 1 to 3. 4 would take a lot. It's not impossible by any means, but you'd have to work a little bit harder than I'd like for 4. Not to say it's impossible by any means, but just kind of my thoughts there on that region. So thank you for the super chat. Hate to ask 3 nights in a row, but what are your totals for Nashville, North Carolina? You know what? Ask all the questions you want, y'all. That's why I'm here, and that's why I've spent all the years to get this degree, is to answer your questions and feel better about it than if I didn't have the degree. So no, again, please ask all the questions, fire away. So for Nashville, you are in that spot where, I'll be honest, a couple nights ago when I first answered your question, I was like, you're in a great place. And you're not in a great place now, but let me find a model that shows that dry slot. How about that? And that might be a better way to answer your question. Also, I just want to see what the HER has here and see kind of what it's coming in with. Yeah, okay. All right, the HER's not bad, actually, if you're in that area. It's a little bit drier in some other places, but HER's not bad at all. So back out into that region, notice the European the European shows it best here. This is Saturday afternoon, folks. And you know what? This is the part actually where it's going to be a good time for me to explain the upper levels. And I said I wasn't going to, but you know what? I'm a nerd at heart. So let me just go ahead and explain the whole setup to you and get into it. All right. So we've got this big upper level trough. We know that. I've been screaming about it every day. I've been talking about it nonstop. We know it's on the way. Let me briefly explain again the significance of this to the forecast. Basically, this is halfway up in the atmosphere. This shows spin, and all of these black lines you see, these are height contours. And a contour, if you don't know, is just a line drawn at a single value. So, if you see a snow contour, like on a weather map, and you see 2 inches, that's a contour. That's just a line saying this is where the 2-inch region will be. This is a height contour showing where the thickness of the atmosphere is. And all of these little contours you see right here, this is a 528 thickness. That means the atmosphere is very shallow at this point. And this is going to be Saturday afternoon and evening. To give you an update on the time here. Basically, 528 means the atmosphere is very shallow. 5,280 meters, I believe, is what this is in. This is probably meters, or this might actually be in hectopascals. Either way, the number exactly doesn't matter. But the point is, that's very shallow. Why is it shallow? Well, that's a big block of cold air. Think about cold air. It's very dense. It likes to compact itself. So you've got that. You've got this big block of cold air swinging through. That in itself is going to create lift in the atmosphere. Again, cold air is dense. If it's running into air that's not as dense, it's going to create lift. On top of that, we have something called geostrophic balance or geostrophic flow in meteorology. This being a mid-level map, or basically halfway up into the atmosphere, there's no friction there. So the wind is going to follow these lines as well. It's not going to get slowed down or change directions by like hitting a mountain. There are no mountains up in the middle of the atmosphere. We know that. So the winds are doing this. Again, if I follow these lines, notice kind of what they're doing. And they're doing this general pattern where they're kind of separating. We have divergence aloft. I've talked a lot about that on the channel recently. And I always use the analogy. I think it works well, so I'll use it again. It feels like Groundhog Day. I'm explaining the exact same thing, but I'm sure some of you are new here, so I don't mind doing it. It's like swimming in a pool. Think about whenever you're doing this. You're swimming in the pool or the ocean, wherever you're swimming. You're removing water with your hands. That's what the air is. Your hands are the wind here. It's moving apart. It's separating. It's diverging, as I said. But guess what? The water, it doesn't just disappear forever, does it? No, it starts to fill back up from below. And the air does the same thing. In dynamic fluids here, or dynamic meteorology, the air has to rise to fill its place. The rising motion of that air creates a void down at the surface now. So what happens? The pressure lowers because you have less air molecules. They've all just moved back up to, fill other areas of the atmosphere. And that creates low pressure. Low pressure creates a lift. It's this positive feedback where this big area of divergence just feeds off itself and goes into overdrive until eventually it loses that divergence aloft. And that's why this is going to be a big storm. That's why we're going to have a bomb cyclone, as I like to say, because we're just going to continuously get that lift in the atmosphere over and over and over to the point that this thing is going to really go big. So because of that, you're going to kind of get two pockets of lift in the atmosphere. You've got the cold air pocket, and then you've got the lift pocket that will eventually create the surface low pressure. The high resolution model probably going to show it well. And notice how it starts with that upper level pocket right here. Okay, this is by Saturday morning. And I know we've got a ton of super chats coming in. I'm going to answer them all, but I think it's important to do this little explanation part really quickly. I promise I'll get to all of them. Don't worry. So here's part one. Here's the upper level lift. See how you get that pocket of snow? This is when the snow is going to get going in upstate South Carolina, Piedmont and North Carolina, Western North Carolina, parts of Tennessee. It's going to be mainly from the upper level system, but then you start to get a coastal system, and now we're getting heavy snow into the Outer Banks because now you've got coastal energy. So you've got a 1-2 punch. Upper level energy here in black, and then we've got coastal energy here in pink. So those are going to be the two hot spots. The question is, how close do they get? Do they come close enough that if you're in a place like Nashville, which was the original question I was answering, or basically anywhere in this pink, if you're in that pink, are we going to get both of them to overlap and fill you in with complete precipitation, or are they going to separate too much to the point that there's a little bit of a gap in the snow? You notice it here on the in like Myrtle Beach. This run, it picks Myrtle Beach maybe with a bit of a gap here, but even then, it does fill in eventually. So I think everyone gets snow. It's just a matter of how long is the dry air there before you fill in, and that's what we need to watch for in kind of that region. So I know that was a long-winded answer to give you, probably something brief. And in fact, I also want to show you this. And again, I know, actually, I'll save that for a little bit because we got a ton of super chats to get to. I'll answer that part here in just a moment. But yeah, totals for Nashville, though, I still feel confident in 3 to 6 plus. There's a world you get more than 6 inches, but I would say a floor of like 2 to 3 inches. So I will keep my thinking there. And I know that was the longest answer of all time for one question, but that's how we do it here at GM Weather. So hopefully y'all enjoyed that explanation. All right, to keep it going now. Lumberton, North Carolina, totals idea, minus my newly realized nemesis, the dry slot. Since you can't pinpoint it, you're our guy, Scott and Amanda from Lumberton. Well, I appreciate that. Driven through Lumberton many times storm chasing. So I've actually had, I think y'all have a Cracker Barrel in Lumberton, I want to say, or is it Laurenburg? I think it's in Lumberton. I've been to that multiple times, funnily enough. Just a side thought. Same thing in Lumberton. I'd say 3 to 6 plus. There's a world you get more. Again, if that dry slot fills in, but I think 2 to 3 is a good floor. Trav says, what about Easley, South Carolina? Right down the road from my hometown of Pickens, South Carolina, there in Pickens County. I just told my parents this morning, I think 2 to 4 plus inches there in Pickens and Easley. There's a world you get more. 4 to 8 is a possibility, absolutely, but I think 2 is a good conservative number. 4 is a good median. So I'll always go a little bit lower just to cover myself, but there's a world that 4 to 8 happens. NWS says minus 36 chills in Beach Mountain. Is this common? Not common. This is a very cold air mass, and that does bring up a great point. The wind chills are going to be brutal, and I really do mean brutal come Saturday night and into Sunday morning. In fact, let me pull that up for you and talk about some of those wind chills very briefly, because I do think that is a very important point to talk about. Let's go wind chill heat index here on the European and move this ahead into time. All right, this is Saturday afternoon. Get this, folks, okay? It's going to be snowing Saturday afternoon for many of us. It's going to feel like 1 degree in Charlotte. Negative temperatures in the Triad. The mountains, even colder than that. This is a great point that you bring up that I have not talked a lot about, and probably not a lot of people have. It is going to be brutally cold in the snow. That's why we're going to get such high ratios. It's why it's going to be such a fluffy, powdery snow, is because of that. So, yeah, and then it only goes downhill from there. Sunday morning, the winds pick up. Negative wind chills through the Piedmont. That includes Greenville, Spartanburg, Charlotte, Rock Hill, Sherrod, all in North Carolina, basically seeing negative wind chills. Yeah, these are brutal wind chills up in the mountains. Boone, don't go outside if you don't have to. No, you're going to want to play in the snow Sunday morning if you got kids. It's going to be brutally cold. I mean, frostbite becomes a concern very quickly with numbers like that. So that's a great point to bring up. I appreciate you mentioning that. What's it looking like for Boiling Springs, South Carolina? Boiling Springs, a great place to be in this storm. I think you're going to really cash in off that upper level low. That's the first piece of energy. In fact, the European has been very consistent that Boiling Springs here in Spartanburg County is going to get 1/2 foot to 1 foot of snow. The Canadian has you a little bit less, 4 inches. The GFS has you around 1/2 foot. The Icon around 1/2 foot. The NAM lower, but this is the NAM, so you take that one with a grain of salt. The Canadian mesoscale model around 1/2 foot. So I mean, I'll be honest, Boiling Springs 1/2 foot seems like a pretty good number to me. I'd say 4 to 8 then for Boiling Springs. So great question there. I had many band competitions in Boiling Springs over my time in high school. So been to Boiling Springs many times. Lakin says, we better not end up in the dry slot in Sumter, South Carolina. I want to get buried. Thanks. I think Sumter's not in a bad place. I'll be honest. I've said it a couple times. This kind of pink slot here, I think is going to be in a pretty good place for that upper level low to cash in. And Sumter's going to be a little bit on the edge of that maybe over here. But I think 2 to 4, 3 to 6 inches in Sumter. And that's a big snow for y'all. That is a big snow for y'all. Roanoke, Virginia. Great question there for Roanoke. Roanoke probably going to be 2 to 4, 3 to 6, if I had to say. That's kind of down here. You could see more for sure. Maybe more 3 to 6 in Roanoke. You're a little far north, though, is the thing for me. You're a little far north, so actually 2 to 4. I know I keep bouncing back and forth there, but this is part of the live part of meteorology here. Roanoke, Virginia, there you go. Panda Man with a $5 super chat. Thank you very much. Mount Holly, North Carolina still has ice on the ground. Yikes. Yeah, same here in Charlotte. The shaded areas, it's brutal on some of the sidewalks out here. What can we expect as a range of snowfall there in Mount Holly? Great question. I'm happy to answer it. Let me get an exact location on where Mount Holly is. It's right in my neck of the woods. I should know that a little bit better. Sorry, y'all. Mount Holly, right outside of Charlotte. You're in a great place in Mount Holly. I'd say 3 to 6 inches in Mount Holly. 3 to 6 plus. How about that? So yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot Mount Holly's right here. There's a lot of names with Holly in North Carolina. There's Holly Springs, Mount Holly, and I'm sure plenty of others. So sometimes they get jumbled in my head a little bit. Great question though. Ashley with a super chat. It says message redacted. So sorry, Ashley. I don't know what that's about. What do you think we'll see in Currituck, North Carolina? Hopefully I said that right. I know that's in the Outer Banks though. Blizzard conditions. There, I really do think so. Blizzard conditions, blowing snow. I think you're going to get it all there. Plenty of snow out that way. It's going to be the real deal there. I would be pretty surprised if they don't if they don't pull, if they don't go for blizzard warnings there, I'd be pretty shocked. I'd say 8 to 12 inches blizzard conditions there. So it looks like you maybe do photography is what your name says. So get the camera ready, find a lighthouse, get ready. It'll be ready for you. Panda says, trust you more than max velocity any day of the week, any weather. Appreciate that. I won't speak illy on anybody else. I've actually talked to Max. He's a great person. But I appreciate that nonetheless. Thank you. Beaufort, South Carolina prediction is from 1 inch to a foot. Well, correct. I'd say 1 to 3 in Beaufort, though. I feel pretty good about that. Could see more, but I think 1 to 3 inches in Beaufort. Does Kinston, North Carolina, how does it look for snow totals? Kinston, not far from Greenville, North Carolina. You're kind of on the, again, we need to watch for the dry slot there. So because of that, I'd say 3 to 6, but you have a very high ceiling there in Kinston. And the possibility of blizzard conditions or blizzard-like conditions would not shock me at all there. So keep that in mind, Ashley. The wind will be blowing. And for a lot of folks, I'll mention this. I'll just, again, because I'm talking about it now, I'll pull up the wind map, which I had, and then I think oh no, here it is. Yeah, we got it. So during the storm, you're going to get likely blizzard conditions into the Outer Banks. It'll be mighty breezy in the Piedmont as well. But even like Sunday morning and Saturday night, even when the snow's winding down, if you picked up 4 or 5 inches in Charlotte, then the wind starts blowing, you're going to blow around that snow because this is a very powdery, dry snow. This is not your typical North Carolina, very heavy, wet, take down the power lines kind of snow. This is the dry, fluffy stuff, which, not as good for building a snowman. So, do you want to build a snowman? Probably can't with this one. Same for a snowball. But this is great if you want to go sledding. I'll tell you, this is great sledding snow for sure. Kinston, though, like I said, 3 to 6 plus. Snow blowing around throughout the day on Saturday, and then likely even into Sunday, whatever fell, going to be blowing around as that coastal storm cranks on up. All right, cool. Oh, sorry, just clicked an ad. Luckily, it did not pop up in time. You're about to get the Verbo ad there from Tropical Tidbits. All right, keep going down the list here. I appreciate the super chats, y'all. Y'all are blowing it up. We got about 3,000 folks in here. So really, welcome to everybody in here that's new. If you are new to the channel and you haven't already liked the stream, consider liking it. Share it with a friend or family member. Tell them GM is live and we are doing the snow thing. We're breaking down totals, answering questions, and all of that stuff. Okay, let's see. Beer says, keep up the great, and Beer, that is something I am going to have after this storm. Let me tell y'all. Whew, I don't, off topic and maybe not appropriate, but I was telling a friend, I said, I don't know the next time I'm going to get to go to the bar is, but I will need an Uber home because it has been a crazy couple of weeks. I'm going to have a celebratory drink, I think, early next week, hopefully. As long as we don't get another storm, if that's the case, I'll be right back here. You know it, but sorry, off topic there. Keep up the great work, man. Just wanted to see if you think we might get something in Cartersville, Georgia. I'm happy to answer that. Let's see. Cartersville, Georgia. Sorry, I'm struggling to type today. Cartersville, Georgia. It's a little far west. I think at least some flurries. Accumulation might be hard to come by, but you could get an inch or two if things keep going that way. But you're on the edge, so you're gonna want to be further east than that for good totals, I think. Scotty says, my parents and grandpa and parents and grandparents, I assume is what that was, talk about the March 1960 snowstorm where it snowed 5 Wednesdays in a row. Might be happening again just on Saturdays. And that would make sense as my first, winter as a weekend meteorologist in Charlotte. Naturally, it would snow on every single Saturday, basically. That's just the way it goes. But maybe not 5 in a row on this one, but this would be number 3. We had a couple weekends ago, we had a close call with a couple wet snowflakes. It was hardly anything, so I wouldn't count that as much. And then last weekend we had the ice storm. This weekend we're gonna have a snowstorm. What's next? We'll see, but there are some rumblings that maybe we're not done yet. Although I, don't think it'll be as big as this one next go around, but we'll see. But yeah, that's a great point. A couple people have brought that up. Any idea about snowfall for Hickory, North Carolina? 3 to 6 inches is what I think in Hickory, generally speaking. Whiteville, Virginia, is the 50-mile-an-hour wind forecast legit? Great question. Let me find out where Whiteville, Virginia is. Love Virginia. Beautiful place. It's possible, yeah. So you're gonna get mountain wind there compared to coastal storm wind, and I'll pull that up. And again, I know the map's not as pretty. Or 50 might be a bit much there in Whiteville. Let me look at the map again. Yeah, you're right on US 81, so it might be a bit much. Maybe more 40. I mean, check it out here by Sunday morning. Gusts, yeah, maybe gusts to 50. Probably not sustained, but gusts to 50 are going to be possible. Great question. Spartanburg, South Carolina. The Spartan Burgers, home of the Spartan Burgers. 3 to 6 inches is what I've got in Spartanburg. 4 to 8 is a possibility for sure. Prince George, Virginia, currently below the cut line. Do you think the snow will shift west or east so we get more or less, excuse me? I wish I could work for you this weekend so you could chase this storm. Yeah, it is what it is. I will say some good news. I was originally going to have to work tomorrow night. I don't anymore. Meteorologist Caitlin Wright filling in. So thank you, Caitlin. We appreciate her filling in for me tomorrow night. That was very nice of her. But yeah, so I'll be live tomorrow night. We'll be looking at the storm live. I think maybe Saturday. I might try to go live before I go in. My shift starts at 3, and granted, I should probably be there more like 1 if we're going to be honest, just because, let's be honest, I probably should get there a little early on a major winter storm day to make sure everything's lining up properly for the 6 o'clock show. I'm thinking about going live, then maybe driving around Charlotte a little bit for the start of this without hopefully getting stuck, although I just drove through a foot of snow in Virginia last winter. So no, by no means, never want to say you're an expert at driving in the snow, but it would not be my first rodeo. So maybe I'll try to go live, do a snow angel somewhere. Maybe I'll just do it on campus here at UNC Charlotte. I live right up the road. So maybe that's what I'll do. I'll go give you a little view of the college life, what all the college kids are up to. I'm sure I'll be the coolest person out there, right? Live on YouTube. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. But in terms of answering your question, Prince George, Virginia, let me look that up place-wise. Prince George, Virginia. All right, that's going to be, yeah, you are right on the line there. 1 to 3 inches is what I would say in Prince George. We could trend back that, if we trend north at all, it would be better. You would need more of a, northwest shift, which is generally what these things do at the last second anyway, for what it's worth. But I would right now say 1 to 3 there. Any idea what Cape Cod will see for snow? Yeah, I can actually show Cape Cod. Let's go European. Actually, you know what? Because I haven't talked about the Northeast much, let me do a whole little segment here on the Northeast. I'm not going to do forever on that because I know most of our viewers are in the Carolinas tonight. I am aware of that. But Cape Cod is a part of the country that could get snowed in really good. Here's the thing about Cape Cod. Here's the trend in the model data. Here's a couple runs ago on the European, and it's not often we see, big trends on the European, but this one has been a little bit of one. Couple runs ago, newest. It started to trend a little bit more out to sea out here. I said in my morning video, we could probably scratch this one from DC up through New York City, probably even up into Connecticut and Western Mass at this point. But at Cape Cod, I still think you'll see blizzard conditions. I really do. No matter what, the wind there will be rocking and rolling. I mean, if you look at the wind gusts up here, check it out. Yeah, hurricane force at times. And I will also add, this goes for the Carolinas as well. Full moon out of this. We've got high tides. We've got, all that stuff. Beach erosion and flooding, coastal flooding will be a concern out of this nor'easter. Like I said, it's going to be a big bomb cyclone. So that will be a concern. But I do think, maybe half a foot to a foot there in Cape Cod would be my most recent forecast, probably trimming that down a little bit. Ken with a super chat. We got Mike with the super chat. So appreciate y'all. There were no questions involved those. They were just super chats. So appreciate ya. Should I stream the storm from Virginia Beach or the Outer Banks? Probably the Outer Banks would be better if you want good footage, Randall. Yeah, I'd say the Outer Banks would have better footage. And it is cold in my room tonight, y'all. I don't know what is up in here. So if I look like I'm shivering or something, I apologize. What am I expecting for Aurora, North Carolina? Well, it's funny because that's pictures of the Aurora in North Carolina right behind me. So, right? All right, Aurora, North Carolina, where that is what you might be wondering. That is out near New Bern. Blizzard conditions in Aurora, probably half a foot to a foot. Feel pretty good about that. What about Southern Greenville, the Malden, South Carolina area? I've also been through Malden many a times. 3 to 6 inches of snow, I think. And very cold and windy on the backside of this. Somebody says, hope you hit 100K. Landrum, South Carolina, total same thing, 3 to 6, maybe even more, 4 to 8 there in Landrum. And speaking of 100K, let's get a little check on that. Where are we at it? Let's see. Oh, there we go. We jumped to 98,617. So appreciate that, y'all. Again, if you haven't already subscribed, we are knocking on the doorstep of greatness. We could hit it tonight. It's not impossible, but I think tomorrow would be, also just as likely. So it's exciting stuff, though. How many folks we got in here right now? We got a little more than, we got between 2,000 and 3,000. Appreciate y'all tuning in again. And thank you very much for all the super chats and the questions. Jeremy with the super chat, appreciate that. Or Jeremy meets Arlene to be exact. All right. Sorry, I'm looking at something here. Okay, any idea for Cape Cod? Just started watching your videos. I just mentioned Cape Cod, so hopefully you caught it. Like I said, it's trending a little bit, not as exciting Cape Cod snow total-wise, but I'd still say 6 to 12 inches with blizzard conditions on Sunday. It could shift less, though. It's gotten a little bit less exciting over the past couple of days. Jennifer says, what are your thoughts, on snow accumulations in Edgefield, South Carolina? Good question. I've got the hiccups all of a sudden. Edgefield. I know that's down in the Midlands of South Carolina, but my memory is escaping me a little bit on the exact location. Yeah, that's out of the Western Midlands, not far from Aiken and Augusta. Probably like 2 to 4, 3 to 6. And it'll be a good one there. Again, it'll be a nice, dry, fluffy snow. Here's the latest. Well, I say here's the latest. Is it gonna load properly? Here's the HER. It's the brand new run. What does it show? I'm interested. Yeah, shows pretty good. Couple of hours of some snow there. Probably like half a day's worth. HER fills in that a lot more. There's not as bad of a dry slot in the latest HER, so that's something to note. The NAM's probably running as well right now. See what that one shows. It's in the process of loading, so we'll get that one here soon. Charleston, South Carolina, probably like 1 to 3 inches in Charleston. Jacksonville, North Carolina, 4 to 8 inches in Jacksonville, 4 to 8 plus. And blizzard light conditions, if not blizzard conditions. They could issue a blizzard warning that far south. I wouldn't be shocked. Snow for Chesapeake, Virginia, near the North Carolina line. Yep, into Chesapeake, plenty of time, or not plenty of times, but enough times. And I've seen the snow there. Last year, y'all had about a foot of snow, and I was there for it. Blizzard to blizzard light conditions, 4 to 8 plus inches. Yeah, feel pretty good about that. Johnson City, Tennessee, snow totals. Good question. Terrific question. Probably like 2 to 4 plus in Johnson City. So here's the thing about Johnson City. Some models love you a lot more than others. Like the Euro loves Johnson City. He wants to dump half a foot to a foot. The GFS also likes it for what it's worth. Other models actually a lot of the models like you now that I look at it. So you know what? Let me scratch that. Yeah, we've really trended that upper level low a lot better for y'all out there. Okay. Half a foot of snow. How about that? Give or take a couple inches in Johnson City. In Hubert, North Carolina, showing 8 to 14 inches. What do you think? Well, great question. Let's find out where Hubert is. Yeah, Hubert, not bad. You might be a little far south. You're right near Jacksonville. I would say more like 6 to 12 than 8 to 14, but you could see blizzard light conditions, so keep that in mind there in Hubert. It'll be coming down. It'll be coming down sideways. Coming down sideways. Jacksonville, North Carolina. I think I just answered that. Like I said, what I said, like 4 to 8 there, 6 to 12 blizzard light conditions. Edgefield, South Carolina. I think I also answered that one already, right? Yeah, we've got a couple repeat questions here, or maybe it's just showing up twice. So answered that one. Thunder snow, great question. I've been meaning to talk about this. Thunder snow, yes. This brings me to a great point. Okay, take a sip of water real quick. I've been talking nonstop here for like 45 minutes, so let me do a little water sip and I'll answer that one. All right. Thunder snow, thunder snow, thunder snow. And again, sorry, I'm checking my phone real quick. Got a couple notifications here to go through. All right, thunder snow, that's what we're talking about, right? Yes, absolutely. Okay, let's do some more meteorology talk. And this one's going to be important. So I've talked about the upper level low and all that. Beating that horse to death, unfortunately for that horse. There's going to be another important factor here for snowfall, including thunder snow, and that is frontogenesis. What is frontogenesis, Gerald? Well, what is a front? Well, a front is where we have temperatures moving in somewhere of some kind. You have cold fronts, warm fronts, you get that idea. Frontogenesis is where a front is forming or strengthening, to be exact. And a lot of the times people think of fronts down at the surface. Fronts can happen through any layer of the atmosphere. It doesn't just have to be down at the surface. You can get them in the mid levels, not the upper levels as much, but the mid levels, lower levels, and down to the surface. There is likely on Saturday to be an area of frontogenesis to form, and this could save folks from the dry slot. If you're looking for your savior from the dry slot, it could be this guy right here. And I wonder if the HRRR shows it. It might here. The HRRR might actually not show it, at least on this map. It's all right. We'll use the name. Frontogenesis, specifically, we're looking for warm frontogenesis, okay? Think about it. If you've got a thick layer of warm air moving into the mid-levels, that is going to create lift. It's a complicated process on why warm air creates lift, but just trust me, it does. From quasi-geostrophic theory is how it works. But basically, an area of warm air, it starts to separate the heights more, and that creates lower pressure, and it lifts things. You get kind of a meso-low, as we say, which we know low pressure adds rising air, right? We know that. I've said that. So if you get an area of warm air advection here, or warm air frontogenesis, that could create a big area of snow. And it starts to show up on the models right around here. It's this little band right into here. And the HRRR kind of shows it a little bit as well. This is the NAM actually showing it. Also, I just realized the time is cut off at the top of my head. I will fix that for you. Sorry about that. That could be a saving grace, and that is where we have the potential for thunder snow as well. Notice on the HRRR here, this is something I immediately noted, or noticed at least to myself. See this right here? This is overnight Friday into Saturday. See that right there? That is frontogenesis. That is a warm front in the mid-levels of the atmosphere trying to get going. And that could potentially create, one, very heavy snowfall rates where it could be dumping an inch or two of snow an hour for a couple of hours. That's why I think somebody could get surprised with a foot of snow here. Would not shock me at all. But then also the chance for thunder snow. And notice how it kind of fills in. The HRRR does it right near Charlotte, Columbia. We had somebody watching from Sumter, near Sumter, and tries to swing it up into Raleigh. Something to note, where exactly that sets up will be a huge part of the forecast, but wherever it does, we'll have the chance for that thunder snow. And I'm not kidding you when I say it. We really could see thunder snow out of this. Snow totals for Mebane, North Carolina, or Mebane, actually, I think is how you say it, not Mebane, right? My bad. Somebody corrected me once on that. Mebane, right? Mebane, not Mebane. Got that right. Tell me in the comments. Right between Greensboro and Raleigh, like 2 to 4 inches there, I'd say. You're a little bit far north. You could definitely get more, though, but I'd say 2 to 4 is a good, safe number. Snowfall prediction for Lancaster, PA. Unfortunately, you're just not going to get much out of this one there. I mean, I hate to, destroy your mood, but Lancaster, PA, probably not going to get much. I mean, I'll show you the model, though, because of the super chat there. Ooh, all right, y'all. We're doing it. We're not ending. Promise. I know I yawned and said, all right, y'all, like I'm going to, but no, I'm just yawning to yawn because I'm tired, basically. So hopefully I don't seem too tired. Give me a little bit of credit. It's been a long couple weeks, right? Yeah, Lancaster, this one's just a miss for you. Sorry to disappoint. But plenty of winter left, and I appreciate the super chat. Shelby, North Carolina, by the way, I'm sure Max is the greatest human. Yeah, he's a great dude. Everyone has a preference on meteorologists. I wasn't offended by you saying that by any means. I appreciate it. It was very complimentary, and I'm grateful for it. Shelby, 3 to 6 inches plus. I know I keep saying plus because somebody who's not expecting 10 inches plus of snow is going to find 10 inches. If you get in those bands like I just showed you with that warm air advection, you very well could get into that. Also, I just realized this light, like whenever I move my head, is it this way? You can see this light very well. So apologize, but this is the way the comments are. So sorry about the lights. Edgefield, South Carolina. Yeah, Edgefield, I think I said this, like 3 to 6 inches there is what I think for Edgefield. Jennifer. Thoughts on blizzard warning happening for the Piedmont, North Carolina, and South Carolina? I'd be surprised if they issue it just because, that would take a lot for them to issue a blizzard warning. But comes Saturday night, we could see blizzard-like conditions. I mean, whatever snow's already fallen, the wind starting to pick up because your coastal low is starting to crank, pressure gradients increasing, could see blizzard-like conditions even if you don't get a warning out of it. Roxborough, North Carolina, let's see. Roxborough, North Carolina. Oh, yeah, you're pretty far north up there in Roxborough. Probably like 2 to 4 inches, I'd say, in Roxborough. Conservative 1 to 3, but I feel pretty good about 2 to 4 at least. Wind speed and totals for Pinehurst, North Carolina. Well, I can answer that. Getting my North Carolina geography overdrive today. Pinehurst, right out near the Uaries, kind of between Charlotte and Fayetteville-ish. Gotta watch for the dry slot there, but I mean, the HER looks a lot better, and the NAM coming in right now. Yeah, a lot of the models trying to pick up on this warm advection band overnight Friday. And that could be right through Pinehurst even, and right through that 20 corridor of South Carolina. Something absolutely to watch there. But Pinehurst, probably 3 to 6 inches, 2 to 4. Ballpark, watch for the dry slot. 2 to 4 would be more conservative. 3 to 6 would be more of a realistic number. Oh, and wind speeds there, probably 30 to 40 mile an hour gusts. And that'd be like closer to the end of the storm than the start. It would probably start lower winds and end with higher winds. Gonna do another water sip really quickly here, everybody. And again, if you haven't already subscribed, let's get a little subscriber count check. What are we up to? All right, 98,700 just about. We are knocking on the doorstep, y'all. We are getting there. Again, if you haven't already subscribed, consider doing so. Help us get there. Also, like the stream if you haven't. That would also be helpful. That would help more people get these in their algorithm. Snow for Spotsy / Fredericksburg, Virginia. I need to know as I ride a bike to work, and it's been fun with the last storm. Yeah, I'm sure probably was. So Fredericksburg's a little far north for this one. I mean, there's a chance you really just don't see any snow at all. There's a world also you can try to get 1 to 3 inches. I just don't think this probably isn't a big storm for Fredericksburg. Graham, North Carolina. Great question. Graham up into the Triad of North Carolina-ish, kind of between Triad and Triangle. 2 to 4 inches, I'd say, there in Graham. Southern Pines, probably more 3 to 6. Mercedes, thank you for the question and the super chat. C. Smith with a super chat. Appreciate it. Any concern with the HER totals for upstate South Carolina? Well, let me see what it showed in upstate South Carolina on the latest run. I mean, these aren't bad totals even, I mean, for the upstate. It's something to watch. I mean, again, there's going to be, I always say this, every storm has a surprise, and the fun / terrifying part is figuring out what that surprise is going to be. You know, it could be anything with this storm. It really could. Could the surprise be maybe the upstate only gets 2 to 4 inches instead of some of the 3 to 6, 4 to 8 numbers? It could be that. I wouldn't be overly worried about this, though. I mean, I think a floor is 2 inches into much of the upstate, and that's not a bad storm. It's not a lot, but, you know, considering how snow-starved we've been, that's nothing terrible. But I still think 3 to 6 is a pretty good possibility there. Norfolk, Virginia, please. We got nothing last weekend. Yeah, Norfolk for this one, probably going to be more of a, let me do it this way. Norfolk kind of in here. The southern part of the city towards Virginia Beach going to be bigger. And we could see blizzard warnings in Norfolk. Wouldn't shock me. The further south you go, though, the higher likelihood of seeing those blizzard-like conditions. But Norfolk, probably like 3 to 6 inches, I would say. And then again, the further south you go, the higher chance of finding a foot. All right, keep it going here. What is the time frame and totals for Dillon, South Carolina? Dillon out in the PD, I'm pretty sure. But again, I always like to double check. Yeah, in the PD, sure enough. So timing wise for Dylan, and we'll go back to the other map here to show you timing. That'll do it a little bit better for you. Tomorrow you're fine in Dillon and really much of the Carolinas. Tomorrow's pretty boring. It's tomorrow night. Here's by 10 p.m., really midnight into early Saturday morning, radar starts to blossom. So I'd say as early Saturday morning, as late as Saturday afternoon, and then lasting into the overnight of Saturday and likely even into early Sunday there into Dillon. Totals wise, 2 to 4, 3 to 6. Again, I got to watch for the dry slot in Dillon. That's one of those areas I'd be not concerned again, but just mindful of that dry slot and what it can do, because it can do a lot. Well, it can do a lot of damage. Clarksville, Virginia. Let's see. Probably 2 to 4 in Clarksville. Thank you for the super chat, Shannon. Appreciate it. Newport, North Carolina, next to Morehead City. Probably blizzard-like conditions, if not a full-blown blizzard. Sorry, typing something. And totals-wise in Newport, probably like 4 to 8 would be my guess. I say guess is like I'm just shooting in the dark. That's my prediction. Todd Jack, thank you for the super chat. Appreciate it very much. What about snow totals for Landis, North Carolina? Well, let's look into Landis. Landis, that's up near Kannapolis, not far away. 3 to 6 in Landis. Yeah, 3 to 6 is what I feel right now. What about Statesville? What's our ceiling and what's likely? Likely 3 to 6 in Statesville. Your ceiling's probably about a foot. And that would be crazy, but it's not impossible at all. And again, ceiling does not mean forecast. I know people like to hear what they want to hear. 3 to 6 is my forecast. A foot is the ceiling there in Statesville, I would say. Any chance for wraparound snow? I mean, yeah, it's going to be one of those things that kind of this whole upper level low is wraparound snow. I mean, see how it kind of basically wraps around into the low pressure. So yeah, wraparound snow will be something to watch for. Absolutely. Good question there. All right, awesome. Cool. We've gone an hour now, so that's good. We are, we've got a lot of people in here still, but slowly dropping off a little bit, which I expect. You can only listen to Gerald talk for so long. Makes complete sense. Gloucester, Virginia. Let's see. Gloucester, Virginia. Gloucester's a tough one. That's a little far north. You're right on the edge of that winter storm watch right now. It's near Williamsburg. Yeah, you're pretty far north. I'd say like 1 to 3 inches on the edge of this thing. Yeah. Newport News. Newport News is, further south than Gloucester for what it's worth. But still further north than Norfolk. Probably the same, like 1 to 3, 2 to 4, maybe 3 to 6 there. I know it's a pretty big range, but you're right. The problem is you're on the edge. So, I mean, one little shift either way has a big impact on your totals. Bluff City, Tennessee. Let's see. Two to 4, 3 to 6 in Bluff City. Plus, I mean, you could get more for sure. Is Fuquay Varina at risk for the dry slot? I mean, yeah, everybody is ultimately, but the latest HERS is a lot better for you, for what it's worth. And the NWS in Raleigh, I mean, they're all in. They've got half a foot to a foot in like all of their area. So, I wouldn't worry too much about that, to be honest with you. Will Greenville, North Carolina be under a blizzard warning? Not a guarantee, but it's possible. Snow over Darlington, South Carolina. Yeah, definitely, Phil. Snow in Darlington, probably like 2 to 4, 3 to 6 there in Darlington, I would say. Y'all got any song suggestions? I'm kind of right now. I'm in a bit of an '80s vibe as of late. Right now, "Boys of Summer" by Don Henley's on. So I started with The Cure. We've made it to "The Boys of Summer," which is not very fitting at all because it's about to snow. But and then again, the song, if you think about it, it's like "I'll still be there" after "The Boys of Summer" have gone. So maybe it does make sense. Like, the Boys of Summer have obviously left at this point. If you're in the Outer Banks, the Boys of Summer are gone. I mean, they are gone. But the song speaking about, even whenever they're gone, I'll still be there for you. So maybe the song fits. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Ladies, what do you think? We've got some Boys of Summer fans in the chat. That's good. Lovely. Glad to hear it. Glad to hear it. Yeah. Personally, I wish I could sing. I would sing this song if I could, but I'm not an expert singer by any means. In fact, that's why I do the weather. That's why this is my profession, not Nashville. Didn't go to Nashville for a reason. Ceiling total for Chesapeake, Virginia. Euro shows a lot. Yeah, and the Euro probably is a good ceiling for you. Let's see. Yeah, the Euro shows a lot. So that probably is a good ceiling, like half a foot to 8 inches, I would say. Bon Jovi, "Living on a Prayer" is a great song. 80s, I'm not too young for 80s. I've got some soul in me now. Always been told I'm a bit of an old soul anyway. If you couldn't tell, I'm talking about the weather, for God's sake. So, I don't know many almost 22-year-olds talking about the weather this much and enjoying it this much at that. But yeah. All right, let's. I know we keep doing it. I'm curious though. We're gonna keep checking the subscriber count. Oh, y'all, come on now. We're close. Little more than 1,000. We are gonna do it tomorrow. If the math in my head serves me correctly, I'll probably hit it before our live stream tomorrow night. But maybe, how should we celebrate? How about that? Let me ask that, everyone. I'm not going to end the stream here. Let's talk a little bit. How should we celebrate 100,000 subscribers? How do y'all recommend telling or celebrating that? And somebody asking about Mooresville. Go Niners, by the way. Go Niners. Charlotte 49ers, that is, everybody. College team here, not the San Francisco 49ers. Mooresville, 3 to 6 plus inches. I think Mooresville's in a good place for snow here. Prince, "Purple Rain," great song. Love "Purple Rain" by Prince. It is a terrific song. "Jump in the Snow." Yep. I won't be able to do "Dreams" by the Cranberries. Love that song too. Great song. Y'all have some good music taste. I'm happy to see that. "Jump in the Snow." I could do that on Saturday. I mean, by that point, hopefully we'll be there. Again, maybe I'll go live Saturday. Tomorrow night, I'll still be in here answering all your questions. Maybe I'll get like a little kazoo or something. I'll go, I don't know. Party at my house. There will be a party at my house at some point. Somebody said tequila. Also not a bad idea. Also not a bad way to celebrate. A couple more super chats here. GSO, wind/tree damage. Who let in the rain again? Yeah. Yep. So probably not tree damage in GSO. The snow will not cause damage. I will say that. If there's any damage, it's going to be, like you said, from the wind on the backside, but you're only going to gust 30 to 40 miles an hour. So that's not unheard of for y'all. I mean, I could take down a couple power lines. If anything, I think the more interesting part is it's going to blow around the dry, fluffy snow. That'll be interesting to see for sure. But probably not a lot of damage. Updated prediction for Charlotte. I'm going to stick with 3 to 6 plus. There's a world Charlotte gets double digit snow out of this. That world exists. It's not one that I'm brave enough to outright predict. I will stick with 3 to 6 plus. Yeah, I feel good about that. And that would be the biggest snow in years here. That would be the biggest snow in a decade. So, that's not nothing by any means. Hudson asks, are there a model that would show moist versus dry air that could sniff out the dry slot? By the way, Yadkin County seems to back and forth on the maps, any site on there. So I'll start with the model part of that question, and thank you for the super chat. Yes and no. I mean, if the models don't show snow, then there's obviously some dry air there. And you can look at other products. Like if we look at this is the Her. I will say you want to look at the low level moisture here, because this is all low level lift. It's not in the mid levels per se. At least where the snow is being produced is in the lower levels, is a better way to word that. So let's see, what would be the best way? Maybe like precipitable water I could show you. Actually, that's not going to do it because PWatt's not relative humidity. Also, I do want to check the lightning flash density on here. It gets a couple little bolts there at the end. I know you've got upper temperature. I know you have moisture on here. High resolution rapid refresh. Don't act like you don't. Maybe okay. No, maybe the NAM has it. Sorry, I'm going to find a model for you. All right, it's just not there. We're going to have to go back to the other map. Sorry. Sorry, y'all. I'm just blanking right now. I promise. I've got the energy to get through this. I swear. Okay. Thermodynamics? No. Precip moisture? Yes. Where in the world is humidity? I know you exist. Stop acting like you don't. Lower levels. This is the NAM, right? Let's go Eastern US. Precip moisture. No, that's still not the right thing. I don't know. I guess it's not here. Maybe the 12 kilometer has it. Is that the problem? We're not at... Whatever, it exists. But the point being, it doesn't really matter because either way, it's going to go back and forth and what models show it and what models don't. So you could take a sounding, I guess we could do. Yeah, like here we go. We'll do it this way. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Sorry. Let me go to a dry slot. All right, right here, Myrtle Beach, Saturday afternoon on the Her. Right in here, you see how there's some dry air. See how the red line and the green line aren't touching? That's a little bit of a dry slot. And even up above, you have some drier air. But again, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. It's not enough to be overly scared, but I just mentioned it a lot because it will be something that will be there. And then you asked about Yadkin County. I have the technology to answer that. Sorry. I'm squinting because of the massive lights in my eyes, not because I can't see. Luckily, I can see because of these glasses, but... in terms of back and forth in Yadkin, yeah, you are back and forth a little bit there. 2 to 4 inches plus. I always add in the plus, right? Okay. Big super chat here. Thank you very much from Sickle, I believe. Sickle123. Maybe I'm reading that correctly. So again, that's a really big super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. It says, I really appreciate what you do. High Point, if you get a chance, play some Dead Man's Party. I'll have to listen to it. I have not listened to that. I'll look into it though, for sure. Thank you very much for the super chat. High Point, yeah, so you're up there in that 2 to 4, 3 to 6 range, I think. I'm not as worried about dry air there as other places, but I think you have less total precipitation you could work with either way, even if dry air isn't as big of a deal. Why do models have 8 to 14 and the National Weather Service says 8? Well, because the National Weather Service are meteorologists, not modelologists, myself included. So, we try to look at the models and say, is that realistic? And whenever you're worrying about a dry slot that all the models show a different place with, it's safer to go on the lower end of some of these totals. What's the weather going to look like towards North Myrtle Beach? You're fine on Friday, Saturday afternoon or evening at the latest. It starts snowing and it could get hard and heavy and could have blizzard-like conditions there overnight Saturday. It could be rocking and rolling and blowing in a pretty big way that way. So South Jersey update. I'll be honest, y'all. Outside of Cape Cod, it's just not looking very good for the Northeast at this point. I was hoping for that Northwest trend for y'all, snow lovers. It's just not looking like it's going to do it all that well. It's not looking great. Also, wow, look at that deformation band on the NAM. Oh, back in deformation band even there in Charlotte. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. Sorry, I'm doing meteorologist things. Looking at the NAM here. Is this the 12K or the... This is 12K. I would like 3 kilometer, please, good sir. It's mighty snowy NAM run. Mighty snowy. Yeah, Jersey, though, it's It's not looking as great as it once did. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. Sorry for the bad news, but plenty of winter left. And speaking of plenty of winter left, just out of curiosity. So here's our storm right now. What's the European showing? What is that? What's that? Doesn't look as big, but something next week. There's something there. Watch that. Watch that carefully. All right, subscriber count update. Yeah, we're going up a little bit. It's catching up here. It's starting to go up. So again, I ask here towards the end of the stream, if you haven't already, slam the subscribe button, folks. I really think tomorrow's the big day. I can feel it. I can taste it. I'm going to get up bright and early, get that morning video for you. I'll get the afternoon video. We'll be live tomorrow night. We're going to do the whole thing. Also, I do want to say, as a couple more super chats roll in, so I guess I'm not done yet. Do you think Brad is having too conservative for totals? That's a crazy question to ask me. Let me see Brad's latest map. And again, I'm not going to critique Brad in any negative way or, anything like that. I, don't know Brad all that well. I've talked to him a couple times. I've met him a couple times, but seems to be a good enough guy. Let's see what his latest map is. I know he got his snow meter up to a 7. I'll be honest, I don't really look at other people's maps all that much. There's a couple people I do. I try to make my own forecasts. Brad has 3 to 6. That's what I said. So, I mean, again, the ceiling is higher than that, but I mean, me and Brad have a pretty similar forecast, it looks like. And he's talking about Brad Panovich there for anybody wondering. Tiffany says, thanks for keeping us informed and explaining weather in words we understand, from Lowell, North Carolina. Well, I appreciate that, Tiffany. That is one comment I've gotten the most over the past couple of days, and that has really meant a lot to me. People have really been quite nice about the whole explanation things. And that's the thing a lot of other big YouTubers don't do. And I mean, I get it. It's just the way it is. Your max velocities and your Ryan Halls like to kind of just show the maps. And again, that's completely fine. Everyone has their own way of doing it. I do try to get into some of the science here on the channel. It's spent all these years and time and energy and money getting this degree. Might as well use it, right? That's the way I look at it. And I think obviously y'all seem to like it as well. So appreciative of that. I do want to say here at the end, I want to thank our kind of the brand that we're running right now, our brand deal. This has been great for the channel. I will say that. And it has been great for a lot of you. In fact, I got a message today. Somebody said that they've had the free Cash App for like a couple years now. They made like, $3,000+ off of it in that amount of time. So promise y'all, it's not a scam or anything. It's a real app. And if you use my QR code on your screen, you get a $5 bonus. They literally pay you to play video games on your phone. It is literally that simple. And again, you signing up for free, by the way. In fact, they literally pay you with my bonus to sign up is a great way to get some money back in your pocket, because I know that we've spent a lot of money recently on generators and milk sandwiches and bread and all of those sorts of things. So again, would love if you signed up for this. It really helps the channel. It helps me out, helps me continue to put more time into this channel and more resources. I'm thinking after this winter, we're going to rehaul some things, and we're going to try to keep upgrading the channel as much as possible. So looking forward to that. And again, if you haven't subscribed, only a little bit more than 1,000 more to go. Realistically, how high totals would you forecast for this storm? Assuming you're talking about Charlotte still, if I was going like a realistic high forecast, I would say 6 to 10 inches, maybe 8 to 12. That would be a realistic high-end forecast in Charlotte. In terms of North Carolina in total, somebody is getting a foot. I feel very confident in that. Somebody could get more than that. 1.5 feet would not be out of the question. 2 feet would be pushing it. I'd be shocked, not shocked, but I'd be surprised if somebody managed 2 feet. If that happened, that'd probably be out into the Outer Banks. But these upper level lows, man, when they crank, they go. I mean, they do their thing. They do some magic. Trust me on that. Absolutely, they do. All right. Again, folks, I appreciate it. I cannot tell you how thankful I am for all of you tuning in tonight. And I do want to say also, completely forgot to do this at the start, thank you to our channel members. These are our channel members, tier 2 and 3. So these are your upper level members and your GM Fanatic members. Appreciate y'all very much. You also help me continue to run this channel the way I do. If you want your name added to the list, you can become a member. Sometimes there's like a day or two lag in me adding your name to the list, just because sometimes YouTube doesn't immediately tell me when you join. So don't fret if it's not the exact next day it's on there. But nonetheless, grateful for all of you. Really do appreciate it. Okay, a couple other things here at the end. How long would a foot of snow stick in Charlotte? It's going to be cold all next week. I mean, we've still got sleet piles a week after last week's ice. And we only got like an inch or two of sleet. And granted, that melts slower than snow. But a foot of snow, I mean, it would melt in the sun probably mostly within a week. But it'd be here for a week or two in the grass. Maybe even longer than that. Then there was another super chat here. Hey, Gerald, I'm really confused if Nashville is getting any snow or anything at all, and if so, when? Jess, do you mean Nashville, North Carolina, or Tennessee? If you're talking about Tennessee, not snow out of this storm, maybe some flurries, nothing more. Nashville, North Carolina, then yes, you will be getting snow for sure. Probably a pretty good amount of it, probably half a foot or so. Explain a meso-low, please. I can do that for you. All right, this is going to get complicated, though, because it's just the way that this is. Sorry for the ad there on the side. Again, I do not pick what ads Tropical Tidbits throws on the screen. I promise. Oh, okay. Meso-low, yes. So this is what happened in Charlotte back in November, where we got a meso-low of snow. And that's what created our quick little burst of very windy, snowy conditions that we had in the city. It was a good old-fashioned meso-low. What happens basically, probably going to need the NAM to show this. Yeah. All right. So it ultimately comes back to this map here. This was the Vortmax I was telling you about earlier. Remember, we've got all of this lift. You've got a ton of lift into this region. At the same time, a little bit lower in the atmosphere at like 850 millibars. Maybe probably do this map. Might actually look a little bit better. Yeah, okay. But at 850 millibars, you have downsloping winds on the Appalachian chain. So what's happening is you've got a lot of cyclonic vorticity. That's all of that, those red and orange colors moving in. From quasi-geostrophic theory, we know, or at least I know, I'll tell you that you'll now know, we know that that wants to lower the pressure and create rising motion, okay? So does downsloping winds, which is kind of counterintuitive because a lot of people think downsloping winds dry things out, and it does, but downsloping winds stretches that vorticity that is moving over the region, and whenever you're stretching that vorticity, it starts to strengthen. So what happens oftentimes is right above the surface, you can get this little small low pressure to form because you've got downsloping winds on top of spin, so you're stretching spin, and that can create these little pockets of those frontogenesis I mentioned earlier. You can see it here at 850 millibars on the NAM. See how it happens right there? I mean, check it out. It's literally right where you would get that downsloping wind. You've got this region of you've got this region of this warm air advection, and that's why you kind of get a burst of snow over the upstate and maybe a pretty good one on Saturday. So that's how meso-lows work. All right, Chris Page says Blackstone, Virginia. Let's see for Blackstone. Man, y'all, it is cold in my room. I don't know why it is so cold right now. I need to go check the thermostat. It is iced in here. Ice box in GMWeather headquarters right now. Tell you that for a fact. All right, Blackstone, though. 1 to 3, probably 1 to 2. You're pretty far north, so yeah. Will Charlotte get 8 inches of snow? I think somebody within a 50-mile radius of Charlotte will get 8 inches of snow, but it's going to come down to these banding features. Where do we get these heavy rates? And I just can't tell you that a day in advance. I can't even tell you till it's happening, really, is the honest truth there. Just to be so honest. Okay. All right. I'm cutting it off there. If you send more super chats, I appreciate it. I thank you very much, but I will not be able to answer them, y'all, because it is getting late for Gerald. It is bedtime. I'm going to be up bright and early at 6 a.m. To record a video. And I'll be honest, I am starving. So let's get one last check of that subscriber count and see where we're at. And we'll end out the video here. Again, cannot tell y'all enough how grateful I am. Thanks to our supporters. Appreciate you. As I said, thanks to our brand deal. Like I said, you can scan the QR code, sign up. That would be great. Would appreciate it. And I'm trying to find the right button. And yes, we are about 1,000 folks away from 100,000 subscribers. I cannot wait to celebrate that with y'all tomorrow. Probably won't be there for the morning video, but for tomorrow night's video, probably will be near there. And if not by then during live tomorrow night, we'll get there and we'll have a hoot and a holler and a party, and it'll be a good time. So appreciate that, y'all. Y'all have a terrific night. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back tomorrow, and I will see you all then.